Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Harris Bard for Pond Life Aquatics and Tropical Fish London, and in today's video, the first of a new series where I will be talking you through 3 of my top peaceful fish for community tanks for beginner fish keepers. Let's get into it. Now, before I get started in earnest, there is a massive favour I'd like to ask everyone. The Practical Fish Keeping Readers Poll is open for 2025, and if you would like to vote for us in any of the categories that are available, it would mean the world to us. I will leave a link in the description below, and I'll talk a little bit more about it at the end of the video. But for now, let's get on with the rest of it. The first species on my list, although it is more of a genus, is the Corydoras catfish. This peaceful bottom dweller comes in a variety of different species and has recently had a few of those renamed to haplo cats, though I won't get into that now. When it comes to beginners, I would always recommend keeping a more diminutive species of cory catfish, particularly things like Panda Corydoras or Julii Corydoras. And the reason for that is that they are a truly communal species of fish. They need to be kept in groups of 6 or more of their specific species, meaning you need to give them adequate swim space. And because most beginners typically don't go for your 150, 200 litre tanks, and will usually stick between 60 to 100 litres, Panda and Julii Corydoras are ideal for that. That being said, any other species of cory catfish, as long as you give them adequate space, are going to be extraordinarily rewarding for any beginner fish keeper. Corys are a playful bottom-dwelling species of fish that are largely only captive bred when it comes to the industry nowadays. So there are some rarer species that are wild caught. This is much rarer than pretty much any other species you're going to find in captivity in today. Particularly things like Panda Corydoras are impossible to find wild caught in the trade nowadays, although they were on the verge of being endangered in the wild. Because they are so readily bred in captivity, that has now been reversed. When it comes to setting up an ideal aquarium for Corydoras catfish, you should be looking to have a soft substrate for them, whether that be a soft sand or an aquasoil. Avoid things like harsh gravels because they have these delicate little feelers on their face that we call barbells. They use these barbells to skim their way around their environment and look for food. A river-dwelling species from South America, they are found in a vast variety of different parameters. However, in the wild, they will generally prefer a softer water aquarium. Captive bred species are extraordinarily adaptable, and we have no issue keeping them in our hard London tap water. As long as you're using a good dechlorinator, you should have no issue when performing water changes, and you shouldn't be worried about them suffering not having soft water. As long as you're not looking to breed them, which again is not a very beginner thing to be doing, you will not have any issues with keeping most species of cory catfish in captivity. When it comes to decor for the aquarium, as with most species of South American fish, I'm always going to recommend a naturally planted environment, giving them lots of things like bogwood, rocks, cryptocorin species, Java fern, Echinodoros. Anything that's going to be an easy to grow plant for you is going to be ideal for these guys. However, I would say move away from very small stemmed plants, as corys do enjoy digging, and they may dig up your smaller species of plants. Things like Monte Carlo and Eliocharis or Cicularis may find themselves floating around the aquarium as your Corydoras look for food. Now, when it comes to feeding Corydoras, I would always supplement with a good Corydoras tablet. And this is because although they don't have very specific food requirements, they are an omnivorous species. Typically, they are just not very good at competing for food, and you need to make sure that foods get down to them. That means giving them a good tablet and then supplementing with frozen foods and live foods whenever possible is just going to be perfect for pretty much every species of cory catfish. When it comes to other tank mates, cories are just the most peaceful species you are going to find. They will not harass any other species of fish, and realistically, you just need to make sure you're not keeping them with semi-aggressive species that are going to bother them. As I said previously, try and keep them in a sufficiently sized aquarium in groups of 6 or more to get the absolute best out of them. When you do this, you will see them shoaling together and moving around the aquarium, exhibiting those beautiful, playful behaviors that so many of us love from Corydoras catfish, and is why I think most beginners fall in love with them almost instantly. Next up is a species of fish that I have talked about extensively on the channel before, and it is the Harlequin Rasbora. Trichonostigma heteromorpha, not actually a Rasbora species at all, is one of the longest standing fish in the aquarium trade. They have been kept in captivity for over 100 years, and it is easy to see why. With stunning red bodies and black spots on their tails, often resembling a pork chop, hence pork chop Rasbora every now and then, Harlequins have been a mainstay in aquariums. They are an extraordinarily peaceful species of fish from slow-moving peaty waters in Southeast Asia. When setting up an aquarium for them, you want at least 40 litres. Much like the Corydoras species I talked about previously, they are a truly shoaling communal fish. Keeping this fish in groups of 10 or more will get the absolute best out of them, and you'll be able to watch them school together, and they'll become a lot less timid. When setting up a Harlequin Rasbora tank, I will always recommend using a good soil as the substrate, as the dark colours will help make the reds in their bodies pop. Additionally, because this fish comes from, in the wild at least, very heavily planted places, you want to replicate that as much as possible. And for beginner fish keepers, that means lots of things like cryptocorin. Cryptocorin are extraordinarily easy to grow, and getting a half dozen inside of a 40 litre is going to give sufficient cover for this stunning fish. Additionally, adding in things like hornwort, java fern, any other really easy to grow plants will be sufficient to get the best out of them. When it comes to feeding, giving them a good staple food like flake, and then supplementing with live and frozen, as is the case with most fish in the aquarium trade, is going to be ideal for them. They are a generally very peaceful species, exhibiting pretty much no nipping to other species of fish. They can be kept with things like bettas, Corydoras, tetras. The list goes on and on. Obviously, they're not going to enjoy being harassed by other semi-aggressive species like barbs, but the fact that they are just so adaptable in aquariums is why I think they are absolutely perfect for the beginner fish keeper. As I said, keeping them in groups of 10 or more is ideal. So although a 40 litre is the absolute minimum for them, I would always recommend going for a 60 to 80 litre or even more to keep a bigger shoal. In terms of ideal temperatures, we recommend anything between 22 and 28 degrees, although 22 to 24 is going to be that sweet spot to keep them happy. If you're interested in breeding them, you are going to have to use RO water, but not a very beginner-friendly thing to talk about. And in general, keeping this fish is just going to be as simple as cycling an aquarium with dechlorinated tap water, having good filtration. We recommend things like hang-on backs, power heads, pretty much any kind of commercial filtration that is big enough for the aquarium you're setting it up in is going to be ideal for them. Obviously, they aren't going to enjoy as fast flow as some other species like Danios or Minnows, and you should bear that in mind when having flow through the aquarium. They won't enjoy being buffeted around, however, they can take a little bit of flow. The Harlequin Rasbora is truly a beautiful fish that is so easy to keep. And there is a reason why they have been kept for so long in the aquarium trade. They come in a variety of different colors that have been captively bred through the generations, and we generally can't recommend them more for the beginner fish keeper. And finally, I couldn't talk about beginner-friendly fish without mentioning the white cloud mountain minnow. White clouds are generally known as the bullet-proof fish. They can be kept in such a wide variety of temperatures and water parameters that it is often one of the easiest fish to keep in aquariums. So temperature, they can go anywhere from 10 degrees up to 24 or even 26, making them a true temperate species, meaning beginners don't have to faff around with heaters if they don't have to. They are also an extraordinarily interesting to watch diver species, always active in the mid and upper of the tank. Again, makes them ideal for beginner fish keepers who want to see their fish active. They come in two varieties generally: the golden variant, which has the white bodies, and the regular white clouds, which have beautiful golden bodies with that distinctive red tail. Although not a truly shoaling species of fish, we always recommend keeping them in groups to get the best behaviors out of them. In something like a 40-litre aquarium, I'd recommend keeping 6 or more of them. And because of their dithering nature, where they are always active, they will always take food, whether that's frozen, dry, or live, they will encourage other species to come out and show off the behaviors you as their owners want to see. Particularly things like sparkling gourami or honey gourami that may be a little bit more timid will be encouraged to swim out in the open if you pair them with this stunning little fish. Hailing from rivers, they do enjoy a little bit more flow. However, as long as you provide a good oxygen content in the water with sufficient surface disturban, they will adapt really readily to pretty much any aquarium there is. In terms of substrates, they can go in bare base, they can go with pretty much any substrate you want. Although I would avoid having large pebbles with gaps where they might get stuck underneath them, because they are quite a titchy little species of fish. In terms of planting, they will enjoy any kind of planting in the aquariums. I think you get the point that they will tolerate pretty much anything. As with most species of fish, you should aim to have your ammonia and nitrites down to 0, and they're relatively tolerant of nitrates. However, as with pretty much every other species, you should try and keep your nitrates low, whether that be through like planting or regular water changes. As I have said previously, white cloud mountain minnows will tolerate a hell of a lot more than your other delicate species of fish. They are simply the simplest fish to keep in aquariums. They will readily breed in hard water, they'll readily breed in soft water. They are the beginner fish if you are worried about killing your fish. I cannot recommend them more, and in general, I think they are fascinating to watch. They are the OG fish when it comes to setting up an aquarium, and watching them, it's easy to see why. And that is it for the first top 3 video that we are going to be making on this channel. Let me know what you would like me to discuss next in terms of my top 3, whether you would like another 3 fish that you should keep as a beginner fish keeper, or maybe a top 3 semi-aggressive fish to keep as a fish keeper, or top 3 plants for beginner plant keepers. Anything that you may find interesting, I'm more than happy to make a video on. The reason I make these videos is because I do just want as many people as possible to be keeping fish in the best possible way, and being able to teach everyone about different species of fish generally is what I want to be doing. So thank you for indulging me. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the Practical Fish Keeping Readers poll is open now, and any vote for us for Pond Life Aquatics would mean the world to us. It would help us grow as a shop. It would help us keep doing what we're doing here and helping to encourage more people into keeping fish in the aquarium trade in the best possible way. So thank you so much. If you do decide to vote for us, there is a link in the description for that. If you didn't see it and you were interested in ponds, the first video we ever made about a pond build came out on Wednesday this week. And yes, I know I haven't done a stock tour this week. It's because we didn't get any new stock in. We just want to sell through a few fish. We had a lot of people shut down aquariums this week, so we've got some rescue fish in that we just want to settle and sell through. Then next week we'll be back with all of the stunning new fish we'll be getting in and some of the ones that will be moving out of the quarantine space. But for now, that's everything from me here at Pond Life Aquatics and Tropical Fish London. I hope you'll join me again next time for this Pond Life.